Filming might be really hard because Susie's going to constantly get in the way to get butt scratches off you. Today's video is going to be a look back on the last 12 weeks of training with Rue. So a bit of a training roundup. We did a training roundup 1 of training for 40 kilometres. How many times am I going to say training? Probably a lot. And now we're going to have a little look back at training for 80 kilometres. We were going to take lots of footage. It's only 2 weeks from his 80k ride, and I was going to take lots of footage over the next week to show you the bits of training that he's been doing, but there's some bad news. So we'll go through the good news first. Last 12 weeks have been awesome. Rue has done so well. He's been training really hard. Well, not really hard, but he's really upped his game. I've not worked him that hard, but he's got much fitter and he's upped his game. And when I'm training for 80k, there's 4 main elements of training. So I still do some lunging. I lunge over poles without any training aids. Here comes Dizzy. Oh God. You tell her, Ruth. This is your time to shine. It's your time to shine.
No.
What do they say about never work with horses or animals? Let me show what she's doing. Look what happens when Dan is trying to film. Dan can keep those two distracted. So 4 elements to training. I still do the lunging. I do pole work without any training aids, and he's got so good at that. He can now do 6 trotting poles in a row, really elevated, and he doesn't catch any of them. He doesn't trip anymore. He's been so good, haven't you? Really improved, and I'm really pleased with him. The other one is I train with a training aid, don't we? Yeah, these flies are annoying, aren't they? So I use a Pessoa, but I've modified it so it's split into 2 halves. So I use a Pessoa on the back, and then I use separate bungee cord kind of reins in the middle, and I never pull them down. It's literally just to encourage them to work nicely over their back. He can put his head up if he wants, but that's really improved kind of his top line and working from behind. I usually do that once a week. And then 2 types of canter training. I do canter interval training, and I do canter continuous training, both on hills. I really try and keep all of the work done on kind of hilly, slopey surfaces rather than flat, because I think they get more out of it, and the speeds are a little bit lower than it would be on the flat. Just 1 second while you look at what's going on over here. Oh dear. Yeah, and then the continuous work I've been doing on a gallop surface, but just because it's called a gallop, as Dan said, we don't do any galloping on it. We've been doing the cantering. So many flies today, Rue. So yeah, he's done really well. He's done up to 2 hours on the gallops, but that's not 2 hours of just cantering. So it's like a 20-minute walk, 20-minute trot, and the rest nice slow canter with little rests in between. And that's also on a slope. And then lastly, obviously, hacking. The longest hack he's done is 26 kilometres. That was a really lovely day out round Formac Reservoir. We boxed out, and it was actually a really lovely day. I really enjoyed it with him. So yeah, that's kind of mainly what we've been doing. On average, Rue has been working day on, day off still. Yes, you have. He still needs plenty of rest. He's still kind of he's not young because he's 9, but he's still fairly young, and in training age, he's quite young. Stop it, because he hasn't, had many years of training under his belt. So over the last 12 weeks, let me get my phone out, because that is where all of the stats for Rue's training over the last 12 weeks is hidden. Well, not hidden. So he's done 34 sessions in the last 12 weeks, but that is also with 3 weeks off, because I went to work at Invictus for 2 weeks, and then we went on holiday. We actually went on a van trip around the coast of Wales for a week, so he's had 3 weeks off in that time. I think it's really good for horses to have time off when they're training continuously and quite hard for something in particular, just because it gives them time to repair and kind of recover any overloading. Look what's going on here. Tizzy is literally continuing to hound Dan and reverse into him. Watch, if he stops, she literally turns around, puts her bum towards him. This is your own fault, Dan, because you pander to her. What are the girls doing? Okay, back to training, sorry. So he's had 3 weeks off. The shortest training ride we've done was 4 kilometres. What are you up to? And the longest 26. In that time we've done one competition, which is so cute, of 42 kilometres. And training session wise, lunging over poles, what are you up to? You tired? We've done 3. Lunging in the Passeau, we've done 5 sessions. Schooling, we've done 3 sessions. Hacking, we've done 9. Intervals, we've done 10. And cantering on the gallops, we've done 4. And that was every other week on the gallops. So the total ridden distance is 336 kilometres. And the average speed over all of them was 9.5 kilometres. The slowest average speed was 7 kilometres an hour. And the fastest average speed, are you really tired? Fastest average speed was 14 kilometres an hour. So nothing particularly fast, everything pretty controlled and pretty chilled, but it's just that consistency over a long period of time. Then our top speed at trot, average top speed at trot was 14 kph, and our top speed, average speed at canter was 20 kilometres an hour. So we're actually not doing any particularly fast work. We're just kind of really working on how he travels. What are you doing? How he travels and how he goes when we're out training. It's really important to me that he can hold himself, and when I ask for a speed, he carries on. So he's been doing really, really well in that sense, and I'm super, super proud of him. Like, he's taken everything in his stride. He's been really, really good to handle at rides. His heart rates have been amazing. Recently did a couple of vet gate practices with him, and he literally, Tizzy's going to try and get me to scratch her now. He literally, look at this, always stealing the show, Whizzle. So when we did the vet gate training, after doing his interval canter work, he had a heart rate of under 64 in under 2 minutes, and it was in the low 40s just under 4 minutes, which is really, really good, especially in the kind of where he's at in his training life. So I'm very, very proud of you. However, now for the bad news. Rue fell over at the gallops a week ago, and it was like he'd been, God, there's so many flies, isn't there? This is why they have fly rugs and fly masks on. And he went down like he'd been shot. We were going at a really easy canter. It was probably about 19k an hour. 5 kilometres into our canter session, we'd done 20 minutes of walk and 20 minutes of trot as a warm-up. We were riding with someone else. We were riding with Abby, chatting away, but still concentrating, actually having a really, really good time. He felt amazing, like the best he's ever felt. He found it easy and he was really carrying himself. And I was like, I just felt all I had to do was stay balanced, and he had it. And then all of a sudden he just went down. He went down face first. Like, his eyes were full of sand, his nose was full of sand, and it came out of nowhere. He kind of got so low to the ground, like he curled up into almost like an armadillo position, that I could like just literally step off the side. I was fine. We didn't think anything of it because there was nothing on the gallops that would suggest he'd tripped over something. There was nothing on his legs to say like he'd overreached, or there was no swelling. We walked a few steps and trotted a few steps and he was sound. And I feel really, really guilty for this now, but I got back on. We walked, we trotted, he was fine. So then we carried on our session. We did another kilometre of canter, and then he kept doing flying changes, which isn't unusual for him. He does like have a preferred side and he can flying change, but he just wouldn't go back onto the correct lead. So we came to a trot and he was hopping lame, like hopping lame, which I hadn't felt during the canter until he started doing those flying changes. And then he was also lame at walk. So I got straight off, took him back to the lorry, I untacked, I cooled him down, and I just kept walking him round. No signs of swelling, no heat, he wasn't sore anywhere, but he is very lame on his back right. I think the whole reason, look, she's coming again, the whole reason he went down is because some soft tissue injury has happened. So I think he went down because something went ping rather than something went ping because he went down. And yeah, so we won't be doing our 80k and he won't be being ridden for a while. I don't know how long it's going to take to get him back, and I don't know what that's going to look like. Oh, don't be so grumpy. It is a real blow, so who knows how long that rehab will take. Who knows what it'll look like on the other end. I am really upset that we're not going to be doing 80k because the last 4 years, yeah, as I was saying, my insurance must think I'm taking the piss, because on the first week of July every year for the last 4 years I've had to make a claim on an injured horse. So yeah, it sucks. Not the end of the world. I know it's first world problems. I still have 3 beautiful horses that I'm so grateful for. I can concentrate on Estrid. I can still have fun on Tizzy. But I'm really gutted for Rue. I'm gutted for his owner as well, because I think she was looking forward to seeing him progress. I know you're hungry, sweetheart, but when we finish this, you can have your feed. There's no need to eat plastic. Put it down. Put it down. It's so funny. One of my main worries, and I know this is really silly and I shouldn't care about what other people think, that I kind of, not that I don't respect other people, but I should only take into consideration people who know me and know the full picture, know Rue, know that actually I'm really proud of his training schedule and there's nothing I would have done differently. I don't think I've pushed him too much. But I'm really worried that people are going to think, oh my god, Beth, she's broken another horse. She obviously can't train horses. Tizzy was a fluke. And Tizzy is an incredible horse, and yes, I would never have got that far without her, but I do believe that actually I played a part in that too. So yeah, I'm just worried that everyone's going to be like, don't give your horse to Beth, she breaks them all. So yeah, great last 12 weeks. I couldn't have been prouder of him, and a really crappy end. At least, silver lining, at least he did it the day before I could still withdraw from the competition and get my entry fee back. So there's a silver lining for you. And yeah, so fingers crossed everyone that Rue rehabs well. I'm pretty good at this now. I'm an absolute pro at rehabbing, and we'll see how we go. Hey? Oh boy.